my room, ain't fucking with my mood. I'm just gonna do what I do.
Your host, Moon Magic. I'm a hip-hop artist, MC, and intuitive, aka the hip-hop witch. It's Wednesday, and we're almost through the month of March. This year has been going by so fast. Man, this week I've been thinking a lot about, self-assurance and how important self-assurance is. Something that I know on my path in my particular life, for me specifically, is something that I've had to work on consciously, is being, self-assured. Because when you are somebody who, can see a lot of different perspectives, or somebody who likes to consider other people's opinions, sometimes it can be really difficult to be assured in yourself, and especially in our social media generation, where there's a lot of pressure to look outside and see what everybody else is doing. And so the energy I've been feeling a lot this week is the call to be more self-assured, to pay more attention to what I'm doing, and, almost in a certain way have blinders on, and not to, not be aware of what's going on in the world, but to make sure that you know what you're doing and why you're doing, why you move. Because, at the end of the day, I believe I can only control me, right? And making sure, I'm looking at myself and saying, okay, what do I feel is the best way to move in this situation? Instead of always looking at what others are doing first. And it's kind of like football, you know what I mean? So if you're a football player, right, you're going to love football, and you're going to talk about football. And I may not be super into football, but I'm not going to expect somebody who's into football to not be into football, right? And so it's been teaching me a lot to be able to own what it is that I'm into, own who it is that I am, own what it is that I bring to the table, own my interests and the studies that I have been working through, and the spiritual knowledge that I have gained, and the wisdom that I have gained through the experiences that I have gone through. And I really, really believe it is my path and my calling to be able to share that with others, and something I'm really passionate about. And something that, I consistently feel drawn to share. So yeah, that's a little bit about my check-in for the week. If you want to share what you've been going through this week, what y'all been thinking about, what's the energy been like in your life, yeah, go ahead and feel free to share that. Like I said, I want this to be a space where we can. I see someone says, this is exactly where I'm at in life right now. Thank you, girl. Shout out to Diana for sending me to this live. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card, midweek check-in. So if you want to participate with us, you can go ahead and do so. If you're in a safe space to check in, have your feet planted on the ground if you can, or laying down, whatever feels more comfortable for you. We're going to take 3 conscious breaths in and hold it for 3 seconds, and then release for 3 seconds. And I got this fun little sound bowl that someone gifted to me for my birthday. So we're going to use it, y'all. All right. So you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and we're going to breathe in. And out. And breathe in. And out. Really allowing yourself to ground yourself into this moment. Feel into your body and breathe in. And breathe out. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. And one of the reasons I like to start with breathing is because I think sometimes just breathing can be an act, a radical act, to be able to breathe, because we have such busy lives, and, so much that's going on in our brains, and just being able to take that time to ground ourselves into this present moment and check in with ourselves and check in with each other, no matter where we're coming from, whether you're coming from work, whether you had a crazy day with your family. I was rushing over here to get here, so I wanted to ground in with you all, because I know I had a crazy day. And yeah, we're going to pull a card. So if you have anything that's on your mind, a question, a situation, anything that you're open to receiving a message, go ahead and think about that situation. And I'm going to pull a card right here for us and see, what it is that, if you're, what messages might come through. Tarot for me is a self-reflection tool. So I'm not a medical doctor. This is for entertainment purposes only. And I believe that tarot can be a tool to help us reflect on the subconscious thoughts, things that we're not as conscious of during the day. And so take what resonates with you and always leave the rest, okay? Alrighty. Let's see what messages come through. Temperance. Okay. We have Temperance and we have the Devil. So right off the bat, and shout out to the Hip Hop Tarot. I be loving this deck so much. We got Lauryn Hill as the Temperance, and we have Gucci Mane as the Devil. And so, the Devil just represents kind of like, being attached to certain things, things that might be unhealthy for us. It could be self-limiting beliefs like that I'm not good enough, to be able to assert my needs. Speaking of our conversation I was talking about earlier, right? Or it could be, something material that maybe is not healthy for you. But a lot of times when this card comes up for me, is a lot more about our personal thoughts, thoughts that we have, that we're attached to, that we learned in childhood, that really, chain us down and weigh us down and make us, harm ourselves and keep us from being our best selves and living our best life by, basically abusing ourselves in our own head, right? And then we have the Temperance card with Lauryn Hill, and she's over here mixing this potion right here. She's got the cups, and she's right next to this river. And basically the Temperance represents, taking all that you've learned, all that you've gathered, and mixing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And basically, taking what, bringing more in that you need and getting rid of those things that you don't need. It's all about balance. And it's all about kind of learning what works for you and learning what does not work for you, right? And so it's kind of makes sense for these two cards to show up together, right? If you're in any position right now where you're feeling really limited by something, maybe feeling like you're stuck in a situation, whether you feel stuck, in a family situation, stuck in a relationship situation, stuck in a job situation, stuck in your life, stuck and unable to move forward, Temperance is asking us, to remember that we are in this learning, gathering, taking what works for us and getting rid of what doesn't. It's a shuffling, a balance, in and out, a flow, right? And so as you go through that period, if this, relates to you, you might ask yourself, what are some of the things that you feel is this devil energy in your life, right? What are some of the self-limitations that you might need to consciously work on getting rid of in your life, right? What are some of the things that maybe even materially you feel like you might be chained down to? And that could be something simple like, when we're kids, we think, okay, when I grow up, I'm going to get married at 20 and I'm going to have 2.5 kids and a white picket fence and a dog in the backyard, And maybe, you're evaluating some of those ideals and like, man, okay, maybe I don't want a dog and a white picket fence and, I can still be happy even without those things. Let's get rid of that idea, right? And let's bring in the idea that I can be at peace and have joy in the circumstances that I'm in. And maybe there's a way to find gratitude in the situation I'm in. And what are the circumstances you have that are working, right? Looking at the things that you are working and maximizing those things. And then also being honest and looking at the things that don't work. It's all about balance. Nothing of anything is good. Too much of anything is bad. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to pull one more card. Well, that one just came out. And this is from one of my favorite decks, the Threads of Fate deck, Shadow Edition. And I love it because it just really dives deep in their descriptions and, really looks at things from a very whole and total perspective, both the good, quote unquote, and the bad, quote unquote. And this card is Get Creative. Okay. To be human is to be creative, but it is easy to lose sight of this. From a young age, we absorb cultural stigma around the arts and creativity. That is impractical and should take a backseat to more lucrative pursuits. But the truth is, creativity brings flow to our life. It finds openings. Without a creative practice, we can easily find ourselves stuck and uninspired. And there are so many ways to be creative. You may feel called to rearrange your living space or write or take pictures. All of these things are great. Creativity is a way of life, not an activity. I love that. Creativity is a way of life, not an activity. This card is asking you to look around and see what things inspire you. What do you feel called to create or transform? Think outside the box. I really love that. And that goes really well with these two cards from the beginning, right? There might be these self-limiting beliefs that, oh, I'm not, I could never possibly, get creative enough to think of a new way to change the situation I'm in. Or, maybe you're really into something like singing and you're like, man, my voice is horrible. But some of that might be this social conditioning that we were given as a child. And when we start to really get creative without this, negative voice, limiting us in our head, saying that our creativity needs to look a certain way. Creativity, like the card said, can be rearranging your room. It can be, picking up a bunch of flowers outside and just decorating your office space with these flowers. It can be cooking. It can be dancing in your kitchen with socks on, eating pizza. Those are all forms of getting creative. And if you're in a situation, any type of situation where you feel stuck, this kind of things are kind of moving in and out, that balance is needing, getting creative can really help to flow that energy. So I really hope that message resonated with you and helps someone out there. I know I definitely needed that message with my busy day I had today. If it resonated for you all, please leave a message in the comments. Feel free to share, how that message hit you. Maybe it hits you in a different way. And I'm always trying to build my practice. And your feedback and, how it applies to you is always very helpful for me to learn and get better at what I do.
Trust and receive. Yes, I believe I get all that I need.